why does the United States negotiates in places like Pakistan, Oman, or Qatar? The thing is that if you want to find a nation state that could be an effective intermediate between United States and your enemies, they have to be somewhat shitty themselves, right? Because if they're not shitty, then your enemies will not be accepting them as an intermediate. So think about it. Like if these are really good countries, then they will be so aligned with the United States that your enemies will consider them to be biased against them and for United States, right? Um, that's why you can't go with countries that are considered like completely allies of United States and not allies of the Islamic Republic. For example, if you want to negotiate with the Islamic Republic or the Taliban or Hamas, for the other side to recognize them as a proper intermediate, like what, think about it, what countries, any country that would be considered as a fair intermediate by the America's enemies cannot be a country that we are, we like. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely. They would cry bias. They would, yes, anything, anybody we like, they would cry bias. Anyone they like, we're probably not gonna like. So that makes perfect sense. And I think, us agreeing to one over the other might lend them some extra political credence. It might get us some concessions in there. So I kind of understand why we want to be strategic. And okay, you like this guy. Okay, maybe we will decide to like him too. Maybe we get to talk to them about other stuff along the way. But I believe that what you said is probably the biggest factor.
Yeah, but there's also some other countries that are very neutral and could have been good alternatives. But the problem is that those types of countries have no interest in doing this, right? Because they don't have they're not involved in any of this. So it has to meet three conditions. It has to be approved by United States. It has to be approved by your enemies. But then that country itself needs to be wanting to do this, so they have to gain something from this. Like for example, we could say like, well, a country like Japan or Vietnam is a country the United States has no issue with, and also the Islamic Republic has no issue with as well, right? But they're not interested. Like we're like, yeah, don't like what the fuck? Like we don't want to deal with any of this bullshit in our neighborhood, in our country. So they have nothing to gain for being the intermediate here. But like Pakistan needs this. Pakistan needs to show its usefulness. It has a lot to lose if it doesn't have international political leverage. Qatar really needs this. Qatar, for example, gains a lot. A tiny country that doesn't have much military power, um, and is very vulnerable. It needs to use its all of the money that is making to gain political leverage. Being an intermediate gives us a lot of political leverage, right? So Oman is right next to the Strait of Hormuz. It's in a very unstable area. It has been dealing with coups and lack of stability in the region with the Islamic Republic and all of the energy, like 20% of the energy of the world going right by it. So it needs to try to find ways to be useful to negotiations as a way for it to have some leverage on the table when it comes to international politics. So these countries like Turkey has some interest in being a mediator. Pakistan has, Oman has, Qatar has, but other countries that would have been useful, they'd gain nothing from it, and in fact the cost is so much more than the benefit, right? So that's why these countries are often the go-to countries.
This makes perfect sense to me. We can move on to everyone else.
Okay.
It's also not a bad idea to get them practicing working with Western countries. I mean, it's almost like showing up to therapy, even if you're not going to be constructive yet, you're like taking part in the practice. But I think Kat really hit the nail on the head. She said earlier, it's actually because the Omanis wear really great dresses and flip-flops. And I think we can't just look past that. I think that's probably mainly what's happening.
Hmm.
Uh, we are done with responses here, and we are ready for the next topic, which is Jose. He'd like to speak about America's true secret weapon.
Wait. Before we go to that, sorry, I should have put. We have two super chats. Let me read them, and also, okay. So, Casey, thank you so much for the super chat, saying I always have Armin on my phone and TV. Okay, wow. Well, thank you, Casey. That's appreciated. You're not getting tired of me? Okay, that's pretty nice. Okay, you know what, Casey? Send me a picture of yourself so I could have your picture on my desk. So I also have you here always in my life as well. Okay, so let's balance this out. Send me your picture. Thank you, Casey. And then all right, and then we have Van Velt with a super chat, and which has also brought us to our goal. Thank you so much, Van Velt, saying they think we are so powerful. Is pretty flattering. Yes, exactly. You know, they have been when they accuse Jews of being responsible for all these things. They're like, yeah. Just lean into it and just tell them that that's just half of it. There's a lot more of that we haven't revealed to you guys, and you will see when it's time.
My name is Armin Navabi. I'm an Iranian political analyst with decades of experience fighting the Islamic regime inside and outside of Iran. Make sure you follow me for more, and also make sure you join our discussion group. I'm there almost every single day. Come talk to me there and the rest of the people there in our group calls. It's a great place to meet and talk to people who like talking about politics. The link is in the description and or in the bio. You could also get there by scanning the QR code on the screen. See you there.